Do you love bread? I mean, do you love bread the way I do? What if I told you you could easily create your own bread at home on your schedule? And I don't just mean clumsily baking some ball of dough. I mean real, wholesome, artisan style bread. This is Baking with ME. I'm going to show you how to create delicious focaccia. The easiest bread? Maybe. The most forgiving bread? Probably. There's nothing worse than spending your precious energy to create something beautiful only to have it fail. I don't think focaccia can fail, so that's where we're starting. Speaking of starting, I prefer to use sourdough to leaven my bread. You may prefer yeast, as it is way easier and consistent, reliable. However, I encourage you to look into sourdough, especially if you have the comorbid digestive issues that many of us do. I said bread baking could be easy, even sourdough bread baking. Sourdough is by nature a little complicated, but it's also very basic and adjustable and forgiving because people have been baking sourdough for millennia. So, what's the secret to easy sourdough bread baking? Well, there are two. One, maintaining a small starter. You can find information on this on the King Arthur Baking website. This is Odo. This is approximately 10 grams of starter. And I just keep this in my fridge until I'm ready to bake. The second thing is using no-knead method. And I know that no-knead is very popular, and some no-knead methods still actually require a fair amount of active time and a fair amount of energy, but mine doesn't. We let the gluten build itself. We give it a little structure, and that's it. One other reason to bake your own bread at home, I can't get this where I live. This is a Japanese style chokopan. Not available in my area, so I make it myself. Same with bagels. I'd have to drive 30 minutes to get a good bagel, so I just make them myself. That's right, no-knead bagels. We'll get into it. So here we have a scale and my small starter, and I've got a container for feeding the starter. Before I actually try to bake bread, I want to make sure that my starter is as happy and healthy as possible, which means I will feed Odo twice before making my pre-ferment, also known as a levain in French. It turns out Odo's mass is 12 grams, so I want to add about the same amount of both water and flour and then mix it all together. I'll put a loose lid on it and then leave it for about 12 hours, so either overnight or all day, whichever way works best with my schedule. 12 hours later, I have 30 to 35 grams of starter. That's pretty nice, pretty well fed, smells pretty good. But I need more of it and I need it to be stronger. So I'll go with the same 1:1:1 ratio that I used last time. Now, if my starter had been fresher and stronger, I could have just added enough water and flour to create the levain that I need, plus some left over to propagate the starter. However, it's cold and tired and needs to be fed more. Just like me. So how do you know your starter is ready, or your levain for that matter? You observe it. You want it to be stringy and jiggly, and then you can do the float test. Scoop out a spoonful of your starter or pre-ferment and drop it into some water. See if it floats. This one is good. So now I'll build my levain or pre-ferment. I have a number in my head for what I'd like the final volume to be, and that is for this focaccia project and another project. So I'm actually building like 300 grams of pre-ferment now. Now, if you want this process to go faster, you can opt for a proofing box. But honestly, warm water is probably the simplest way to speed up fermentation, but don't go over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Celsius. It'll kill the yeast in the sourdough. You can also, and this is my favorite, put it into the microwave with the door ajar so that the light is on. I call that the EZbake oven method. You can also do the same thing in your oven or toaster oven if it has a light. I've heard of people using heating pads as well. A lot of different ways you can change your fermentation time. And you can use any of these techniques for your bread dough as well as your starter. However you choose to treat your pre-ferment, it's ready when it's doubled in size. All right, we're ready. Let's get out a scale, a bowl, a lid, and a scraper. Make sure you tear the scale after you place the bowl onto it. To the bowl, scoop 100 grams of your fresh, active, bubbly levain. If you're using instant yeast, just add 10 grams here. For active dry yeast, also 10 grams, but you need to bloom it first in the water. I put the starter in first just in case I need to take some out. Then I'll go ahead and add my 425 grams of cool water straight out of the faucet. This will provide a slow rise. If you'd like to ferment faster, use warm water. Next, I'll mix in 10 grams of salt. I like to stir all this up to combine it to make it easier to mix in with the flour later. Sometimes I'll even get out my immersion blender just to save myself a little manual labor. And by the way, we put the liquid ingredients in first, which helps prevent the flour sticking to the bowl. Next, I will fold in 500 grams of strong flour. I have a high gluten bread flour from the restaurant supply. I get it in 25-pound bags. It's very economical. But you do need a place to store 25 pounds of flour, so don't do it unless you're prepared. You can see how I'm just kind of scooping from the bottom and then like down and up while turning the bowl in the opposite direction. And this helps to get the mixture started. Toward the end, I'll switch direction just to get the remaining dry flour. I'll use kind of a scoop and jab in order to accomplish that. You can totally mix this dough in a stand mixer to avoid any actual physical labor, but then you have dishes. Okay, once all of the dry flour is mixed in, pop the lid on it and leave it for many hours. I proofed this dough on my countertop for about 12 hours at 66 degrees F. Yes, my kitchen is cold in the winter. In summer, I would bulk this dough during the day so that I could check it periodically. But overproofing focaccia dough is actually totally fine. You can see as I start to play with this dough that it's very jiggly, it's got a lot of gas, and it's very stretchy. It has developed its own gluten while it fermented. Now we pour this massive dough into a prepared quarter sheet tray. To prepare the sheet tray, I squirted a tiny bit of olive oil in the bottom, rubbed it around, and then placed a half a sheet of parchment paper. And then I will use another couple of tablespoons of olive oil on top of that for the bread. You can just use a naked sheet tray and olive oil. There may be some stickage. I'm using the parchment because the coating, the nonstick coating, is coming off of my quarter sheet tray. Okay, parchment or not, a couple of tablespoons of olive oil go down and get spread around. Then we want to use the bowl scraper to loosen the dough from the sides so that it will pour out easily. And we want the top side down. It's sort of folded over itself, and that's perfectly fine. Next, with just water wet hands, I want to pull the dough out toward the sides and just kind of stretch it to fit it better into the tray. Once I'm happy with that, I will squiz some more olive oil on top of the whole thing and proceed to dimple it, which is really, really fun. It's so satisfying. This is the point at which you will want to add any toppings that you have to press into the dough, like olives, or like on this one I made about a week ago, pickled raisins preserved in olive oil. Rosemary is classic. People also do vegetable decorations like with broccolini and red peppers. You can go crazy. Roasted garlic would be great. All right, once we're happy with the dimpling and the spread, I'm going to wipe my hands off and then cover it with another quarter sheet tray and let it proof here on the counter just for another hour. It really doesn't need that long to rest after dimpling, but you do want to give it a chance to rest so that it can have a little spring in the oven. This focaccia today, I'm just going to give a light sprinkling of Maldon salt, which is, super fancy, flaky sea salt. Gives a really nice flavor and texture to the top of the focaccia. I'm also going to add a little bit of dried rosemary. I don't have any fresh right now, but this will be fine. And sprinkle it on evenly before popping it in the oven at 425F, not 350F. Remember when I said focaccia is really hard to mess up? Yeah, you can bake this at the complete wrong temperature and then it'll still be fine. I did bump the oven up to 425 for the last 10 minutes and it did take longer than usual, but I still got beautiful focaccia. So we learned that over 2 to 3 days with minimal activity, we can produce really tasty artisan style bread. You can customize it however you want. You can add ingredients that you like. You can omit ingredients that you don't. You can screw up and still end up with edible bread. This one may not be as brown as I would have liked, but it still tastes great. Oh, and if you overproof another loaf, turn it into focaccia, like I did with that raisin one. Yeah, that one started as supposed to be a sourdough batard, but shit happens. Have you baked your own bread at home before? Did you try my recipe? Let me know in the comments. And if you liked this video, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel out. Thank you for being with me, and be excellent to each other.